can. And some of them are changing as I speak. So I see Commissioner Doyle, Commissioner Clark, Commissioner Marshall, and myself present. Am I missing any other planning commissioners, Megan? I don't.
Well, I think you've got them all. Thank you.
Thank you. But that does give us a quorum, so we can proceed with the meeting. Would you like me to introduce the other people, or Megan, would you like to run down that, or are we good? I know we have a number of guests. Megan, would you perhaps like to run through those?
Yes, I can run through those. I'm not quite sure if I know everyone on the call. So maybe it would be best for everyone to introduce themselves quickly.
And that's fine with me, because I'm not sure I know everybody, although I think I see Dave Bakke there, who I haven't seen in probably 20 years.
Yeah, hey Paul, long time no see.
It has been a long time, Dave.
Well, I'll start then. I'm Dave Bakke, president of Chambers Construction.
I'm Mike McNutt. I'm the property owner, along with 7 other partners.
Dwayne Farnham with Kendall Auto Group.
And I'm Teresa Bishop, also representing the applicant.
And then I do see we have Councilor Bell here, who is our city council liaison. And then Sammy, Megan, and Ann Heath from the city of Coburg, Henry, who is acting as city of Coburg planning staff, and Lydia, the minutes recorder. I believe that's everybody.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. So are there any adjustments to the agenda, either from members or from staff? Anything I need to be aware of there?
Nothing on my end.
Thanks, Henry. We can move on to approval of the minutes. We've got 2 sets of minutes tonight, January 20th and February 23rd. If there are any comments or adjustments or corrections to the menu or to the minutes, please let me know. Otherwise, I'd love a motion for approval of those.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Marshall, seconded by Commissioner Doyle to approve both sets of minutes. All those in favor, please say aye or wave at the camera or something. Aye. So I'm going to take that. Thank you, Commissioner Clark. I'm going to take that as the minutes being approved and keep us moving right along into public testimony. Megan, is there anybody that's wishing to provide testimony that you know of?
No.
Okay. We are well ahead of schedule. So we can move right on to item 6, which is the main reason for the meeting tonight, the commission business, the public hearing and consideration of SR-01-21 Kendall Auto Group site design review. I believe that, and Henry, please help me out here. I know I have a script here.
Sure.
That I'm going to start by introducing the matter. We have a applicant, Kendall Automotive Group, for file number SR-01-21 for a site design review permit that's being requested. First thing I'm going to do is open the public hearing, and then I will ask for the staff report and we'll go from there. So I'm going to open the public hearing, and according to my script here, first thing I need to do is ask if any members of the Planning Commission have any conflicts of interest, ex parte contacts with the applicants, or whether there are any other reasons they believe that they should not participate in the decision-making process. Hearing none, I will ask the audience, although I'm not sure we truly have an audience, whether they wish to challenge the impartiality of any commissioner. Okay, again, hearing none. A few things I need to state here. State regulations require me to inform everybody that failure to raise an issue accompanied by sufficient statements or evidence to enable the commission and other parties to respond to the issue precludes appeal of the issue to the Oregon Land Use Board of Appeals. Anyone in the audience may request that the record be held open for 1 week. And you may also ask, anyone may also ask that the hearing be continued, although that is discretionary under the Planning Commission, up to the Planning Commission. If so requested to continue the hearing, the requester must demonstrate that leaving the record open will not cure any procedural problem. Finally, the Planning Commission decisions may be appealed to the City Council within 14 days of the Planning Commission decision being mailed out as a notice of said decision. So having got those niceties out of the way, Henry, it's time for your staff report.
Thank you, Paul. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for being here tonight. My name is Henry, and along with me tonight is Megan Winter from the City of Cobourg. Tonight, I'll give a very brief presentation on the site review for Kendall Auto Group's proposal to establish a collision and paint repair facility at an existing building on Roberts Road. Next slide, please. Tonight, you'll hear a brief overview of the proposal, talk about the site a little bit, and some recommended conditions of approval, and lastly, outline some options for you to consider with respect to making a decision. The proposal is straightforward, and staff have not identified any issues. Next slide, please. Can you maybe zoom out a tad bit, Megan, so we can see the bottom? If not, that's fine. Okay, there you go. Thank you. The property is zoned light industrial and it's designated as light industrial in the comp plan. The property fronts Roberts Road and presently contains 2 buildings. Staff have determined that the proposed use fits the zoning designation. The property and building were previously home to the old mill log site and was last used in May of 2019. The applicant is proposing to perform interior renovations to house the new collision auto body repair and paint shop facility. In addition to the interior renovations, they will also construct a covered breezeway between the 2 buildings. This breezeway will offer employees and equipment covered protection from the weather and an easy passageway between the buildings. The applicant also did hire a traffic engineer to complete the traffic study. And after a few clarifications and revisions between the city, Lane County, and the traffic engineer, all those issues were gone away, and the city has accepted and concurred with that traffic study. Next slide, please. So parking. The Cobourg Code doesn't specify off-street parking requirements for industrial uses. So therefore, in that case, it comes to Planning Commission to determine. The applicant is proposing to provide 30 off-street parking spaces in conjunction with the use. The number is based on the projected number of employees, 25, and 5 rental cars that may be on site at any one time. What you see here is a picture of the proposed parking in the bottom right. Note that there are 2 ADA parking spaces proposed as well. There's also additional parking that can hold up to 68 customer vehicles. These are vehicles that will be temporarily stored on site as customers drop their cars off and pick them back up. In addition, there are also 5 bicycle parking spaces provided. If Planning Commission is looking for a recommendation as to the number of parking spots required, staff find this proposal of 30 off-street parking spaces is acceptable. Next slide, please. So the applicant did hire a landscape architect to design the landscape plan. The code requires at least 15% of the site be landscaped. And as you can see in the landscape plan, the site will contain 21% landscaped areas, including the ones that are already existing. To upgrade the landscape features, the applicant will be adding 4 different species of shrubs and one species of tree and an underground irrigation system. They will also be adding site obscuring slats to the existing fence around the property, and trash receptacles will be screened by an existing wall. They will not be visible from Roberts Road. Next slide, please. So conditions of approval, two basic ones. Prior to commencement of construction activities, they shall obtain the required building permits, and any details regarding utility connections, wastewater design, free water treatment, and water line details, those shall be reviewed by Public Works and the city engineer as part of that building permit process. Next slide, please. So like I said, it is pretty brief. We do recommend approval. Planning Commission may make a motion to approve the request based on staff report and findings contained therein. They also make a motion to deny the request based off findings to be prepared at a later time. Or they can make a motion to approve with amended findings or additional conditions. Like I said, staff do recommend approval based on the findings as contained in the staff report. And that ends my portion, Paul, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Henry. So after that staff report, I believe we are ready for any public testimony during the hearing. The order of the public testimony will start with the applicant and others, and followed by that, the applicant will be others supporting the application, and then any opponents, followed by applicant rebuttal if there are any opponents that testify. So having opened the public hearing and had the staff report, I will ask if the applicant wishes to testify. It looks like Teresa will be first.
Okay, thank you very much.
Go ahead.
My name is Teresa Bishot, and you have my contact information already in the record. First, I really want to thank the staff, in particular Henry and Ann, for their dedication to assist us in understanding the Coburg Code and giving us the confidence to move forward with this particular location. They've just provided very clear direction along the way, and I just wanted to appreciate them for that. Second, with this particular application, I've grown to know a little bit the people at Kendall. And I will say that they're passionate about cars and compassionate about people. They understand the vehicles that we drive are important to us for many different reasons. And then they serve us as people when we've are in a situation where we need help. And I really believe that this business in the city of Coburg will not only help stimulate the local economy, it also, in a way, embraces a new diverse use that will help put Coburg in a strategic position. It's interesting to me that the historic use of the property, in some ways, this is a natural transition or evolution of the site. Instead of repairing logging equipment, it's repairing cars. And doing it with the highest quality equipment and trained staff. As we approach the site review application, we really strive to enhance the code, and Dwayne or Dave may speak a little bit to some of the unseen things, such as improving the stormwater drainage system that will be occurring on the site that will help keep this investment and enhance it in terms of its productive use within the city of Coburg. And in conclusion of the opening comments, I will say that we appreciate the staff recommendation. We are looking forward to the next step in the building process and do not have any concerns regarding the recommended conditions of approval. And with that, if you're willing, I would like to turn it over to Dwayne to give a little bit more background about the Kendall collision and why this is an important evening for them. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. By all means, assuming that obviously Dwayne is testifying in support of the application, then it's appropriate for him to go next.
Thank you for that. Teresa, that was very kind. I'm glad you were able to, I getting to know you too, but I appreciate the compliments. And really, I don't want to go in, I mean, I'm already hearing recommendation. I'm already hearing all the things that I want to hear. But I really just want to say thank you from every part of this through the process. You named specific people, but even just pulling this meeting together tonight ahead of planned scheduling meant a ton to me. We are really on a time schedule that is even bigger than maybe anybody on the Zoom meeting knows. So my appreciation to all of you for doing that and the process and getting through the requirements and recommending the process is greatly appreciated. Dave can probably talk more about the nice circles for drainage and all the things that he shows me on the plans. Because I have to defer to Mr. Bakke about that. We want to be good neighbors, and that's really our goal. We will be.
I will ask, are there any others, Dave or others, that wish to testify in support of the application?
I would, Mike McNutt. I just wanted to mention that there are eight partners in the property briefly, and I think it's a positive. Everybody would like it to work out in that I think Kendall's is a good operator. I think Coburg would have 25 more employees that would patronize the restaurants and possibly the grocery store. And I know that the 8 partners, I'm the second youngest at 69. There are 4 in their 70s and 2 in their 80s. And so it's a matter of security. So that's all I have to say. And thank you.
Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Dave Bakke with Chambers Construction. As you guys are all aware, we've built a lot of stuff in Coburg. All the way down Industrial Way and on Roberts Road, and to continue to be part of the improvement of Coburg is really cool for us. I think we built half the buildings, the industrial buildings in that area, or more than half. And then working with Kendall Auto Group, we teamed up with them about, it's been 3.5 years ago already. This will be our 7th project with Kendall, and I can tell you from personally, I have got a whole new perspective and appreciation for the hard work it takes to run car dealerships. Nobody would ever imagine what it takes to run those kind of operations. And I could also honestly say and truthfully from my heart that they do care. I mean, they care about doing it right. They care about doing the right thing. And it's been a pleasure to work for them, and we're looking forward to doing this. And then for the folks at the city, if they have any questions regarding the construction or process that we use, my door is always open, my phone's always ringing, so I'm around to answer questions. And we're looking forward to turning another building in Coburg into a positive employment center.
Thank you, Dave. Are there others that wish to testify in support of the application? And hearing none, I need to ask if there are any opponents that wish to testify. I don't believe there are, so I'm going to keep us moving ahead. At this point, given that we have completed the testimony, I will close the public testimony portion of the public hearing, and we will enter commission deliberations. At this time, commissioners, if you have any questions of the applicant or staff, any questions about the recommended action and findings accompanying that action, this would be the time to raise those.
Paul John Marshall. I have a question for staff regarding the traffic impact study. I don't have a good understanding of the traffic impact study regarding how far out they go. I noticed they looked at a couple of intersections, but they also talk about the fact that I believe the applicant stated the fact that 35% of the traffic increase due to their operation will come from Coburg or from the west. And I don't see where they, Lane County, or whether or not it's required to look at the intersection of Willamette and Pearl. And that's been a discussion item before in regarding traffic and whether or not that has been, whether or not that should be included in the traffic impact study or not. I really don't know whether it should be or not, but we seem to be tacking on a lot onto that intersection. And it seems to me some time ago, there was some discussion that it was in, I believe, what they call a failure mode or going to be in a failure mode. So that's my question, and that's all.
I'll try to answer as best as I can. I know the traffic engineer and it's not on the line tonight, although if the applicant, Mr. Bakke, if you want to speak to the traffic concerns, feel free to. So the city engineer scoped the TIA in conjunction with the applicant's engineer. And you're right, they did look at those two intersections. And the reason Lane County got involved was because the intersection located at the corner by the travel center is Lane County jurisdiction. Yeah, and I guess the concern that was raised by Lane County is they thought more traffic would be coming from that area. So they asked the traffic engineer for some additional clarification. And ultimately they concurred with their assessment. I don't have a better answer for you without speaking to the traffic engineer at this time. And I don't know how far out they looked. I know they looked at the two intersections though.
They did what?
I'm trying to pull up the map right now. They looked at those two intersections that you mentioned. I don't know
they
how
did
far
not
out they
look
go.
at the intersection of Willamette and Pearl. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. They did not.
Okay.
And yet, Henry, you're saying, if I can jump in, you're saying that the city's traffic engineer and the county finally concurred that this was acceptable.
Correct. The city engineer, they initially scoped it with Sandow Engineering. And then once Lane County came back that they had some issues that needed to be addressed, the city engineer deferred that to the engineers at Lane County for them to work it out. And then the city ultimately concurred with Lane County. That's what happened.
Okay. Commissioner Marshall, I don't know if you have any follow-up on that.
No, that's fine. I sometimes wonder, because that is has been brought up as an issue before, that particular intersection. And not that I expect this applicant to address it, but I would think that that possibly that we could be having staff start maybe look into that situation on future traffic impact studies, that particular intersection, so that it be included in some manner, because it is getting to be a bottleneck, if you will. So.
And I think, just Commissioner Marshall, I know that the city is definitely aware of traffic concerns, mainly not only the growth in traffic that is either locally generated or destined here, but the pass-through traffic that uses those two county roads from the north and the south to reach the interchange. Are there any other questions or comments or input from commissioners? I am not hearing any. So at this point, Henry, I believe I can move to ask if the commission wishes to continue the hearing or is okay with me closing the hearing at this point.
Paul, I think you're totally fine closing the hearing.
Okay. I'm going to call the public hearing closed at this point. And so the public hearing for SR 01-21 is now closed. Having closed that portion of the agenda topic, there's now an additional time where the commission can have discussion. I am going to guess that there may not be much more discussion, so I'm going to ask if one of the commissioners is willing to make a motion. I am willing to read. Actually, I would ask that staff read the suggested motion, and then perhaps one of the commissioners would be willing to so move. Would you be willing to read the suggested motion?
Hold on, I have it in front of me, Paul. 1 second.
I do.
Megan. Sure. Yeah, I'm working on 2 computers here. If you don't mind, please, Paul. Or Megan, if you have it.
That's fine. I was trying to not to, but I'm happy to do it. So I would entertain, ask the commission to entertain or make a motion to approve land use file SR 01-21, otherwise known as the Kindle Auto Site Review Application, based on the recommendations, conclusions, findings, and conditions as contained in the staff report and the findings of fact. Is there a motion to that?
I so move.
And is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you. Commissioner Marshall moved, Commissioner Doyle seconded the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I just want to confirm that it included those 2 conditions of approval.
Yes, Commissioner Clark, it specifically is based on the recommendations, conclusions, findings, and conditions contained in the staff report. Correct, Henry?
Thank you.
That's right.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to ask that we vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate so.
Aye.
And Marissa,
Aye.
I see your virtual hand. So it looks like we have 4 in favor. Any opposed? There are no other remaining commissioners, so I hope not. I'm going to call that a unanimous approval of the motion. And note that such approval is subject to an appeal pursuant to the Covert Development Code. As we mentioned earlier, the vote was 4 in favor of the motion and 0 opposed. Staff will mail notice of the decision within 5 days of the decision being made, and that mailing date will trigger the 14-day appeal period. Henry, have we dealt with this agenda item?
Yes, we have.
Excellent, thank you. I'm going to go back to the agenda, and we are already supposedly at 8:20 p.m. And if you're ready, because we're so far ahead of things, it's, I think, you that will be giving city updates and city administration report. And I want to say before you do, and before maybe some of the others leave, thank you to our guests. Thank you to the applicants for being here.
Thank you all very, very much. Appreciate it a ton.
And thank you.
We'll be
Thanks
good
for
neighbors.
putting
even on
together the
traffic.
special session.
Thank
Big
you.
time.
Anne, I think it's you.
All right, so I'm unclear, did the planning commission receive a city administrator's report in your report?
Yes, the planning commission should have received your report.
Okay, so my first question is, do you have any questions regarding anything in my city administrator's report? I don't hear any.
Yeah, I'm still scrolling through the 200 pages to remind myself if I do.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up. Just would have been my city report, my city administrator's report for the March meeting. So just bear with me here. And oops, Okay. So I think everybody is aware that Lane County has moved to the low. City Hall is now open again for the first time in almost a year. We still do have the restricted guidelines for 6 foot distance, limited amount of people in the building. Masks are required, but we're very happy. Especially our receptionist is very happy to have the door unlocked because she doesn't have to get up every time somebody knocks on the door. And so it's still very quiet. We are not receiving a lot of guests here at City Hall. As far as the water project update, we just finished the I-5 under I-5, wrapping that project up. And that went as well as could be, as well as it could have went. It was very successful. The next step in that will be connecting the water lines on Roberts Road to the bore. So that's our next design work and construction work that needs to take place. All of it getting ready to be able to run a line on the east side of I-5. We do have an annexation application in hand, and I know that some of you participated in the work session on that. Currently, the applicant is conducting a traffic analysis or a traffic impact, which was asked for by ODOT. So the hearing on that application and consideration of that application will be a little bit delayed as we wait for them to complete that. I am assuming, Henry's still here, but I'm assuming that Planning Commission may not be seeing that till May now because it will take some time for them to finish that, get it back to staff.
Sure.
Anne,
Yes.
so this is the one question I had when I read the report, and I think it ties to what you're talking about now. Your report also has a bullet about which body makes a decision on zoning for annexation, and I know that was a discussion at the work session.
Right.
And your report says that Ann Davies provided information, but has there been a decision about whether the council will essentially decide to handle that, or whether it will come to the Planning Commission?
Legal decided that it needs to come to Planning Commission for a recommendation. That's what the council asked for, but the final decision will be made by the city council.
Okay, thank you.
So that again, I think May at the earliest for that. The city has applied for a couple grants, economic development grants. One that we received was $11,700 to build a bike hub. We were able to partner that with some funds that we already received through regional funding. And so we have almost $50,000 to build a bike hub. It will be at the backside of the Pavilion Park there along Harrison Street. And it should be up. We hope that it would be constructed in July and August. So that is very exciting, working on finalizing the plans for that. It will include a bike, parking, possibly lockers, picnic table, fix-it station, water fountain. So really a place to welcome bikers, locals, and visitors alike. And so that's exciting. The city also turned in a grant today for creating a pop-up plaza in the downtown area, probably around the park as well. This will feature picnic tables with covers, garbage cans, possibly some games, and an area to encourage people to stop and rest, order food from our restaurants, take out. These tables are very specialized. They're very heavy. They include a solid, heavy awning over the top of them that also has solar panels. So there'll be charging stations in the tables. This also creates resiliency for the community as we have power outages. Residents will be able to go down to the park and charge their phones. So we're always looking for that extra perk that we might get from something. So we did turn in that grant today, and we're crossing our fingers and hoping for it. We did receive a letter of support from Travel Lane County, and Megan wrote this grant and did a fantastic job on it. She really was the leadership for the whole staff. And so crossing our fingers, that will be almost $100,000 grant. The tables are pretty expensive, but they will be around for a very long time. When we talk about a pop-up plaza, it's really meant to be a plaza that could move. So it could move from one park to the other. It could move during city events, so that it is a movable plaza, but we really hope to leave it right there at the center of town where it's really going to enhance our businesses and people's visitation to the community. And so crossing our fingers that we get that.
What grant program is this applying to?
That's the Oregon, Megan, give me the exact, it's Oregon.
It's the Travel Oregon Competitive and Recovery Grant Program.
So
The one you received is the Destination Ready program that's funding the Bike Hub. So both are through Travel Oregon.
The planning position closes today. I haven't seen the applications in hand yet. I'll see those tomorrow, hoping that we have enough to hold an interview process. If we don't, then we will probably continue with LCOG for a while and continue with Henry, which we very much enjoy working with. So we'll just see how that goes. I will know tomorrow when I sit down and look at the resumes. The council did hold a work session last night regarding the transportation utility fee that was put on hold last spring when COVID hit the country, and the council has asked that it be reconsidered, and so they did hold a work session, and we will move forward with it, and kind of tentatively May, June, the council would be holding public hearings regarding that. We will be putting out more information to the residents and giving opportunities for residents to comment, businesses to comment, again, just as we did before. So kind of starting the process over, but not from scratch, because we did do a lot of work up until last spring. So you'll be hearing more about that soon. So I was supposed to share with you the council work plan and goals tonight. So I forgot to send that to Megan so she could put it up on the screen for me. So I think that what I will do is have Megan send that out to you, and possibly in the next time you meet, I would be happy to answer questions regarding it. The council work plan goals did take into account the planning commission goals that you set for yourself. So those are for fiscal year 22, but we can start working on those whenever you want to. I know that you included some education opportunities in that. And so I will be talking with Henry and Megan and seeing if we can come up with some ideas. I think a start for you would to be asked if there are specific areas that the commissioners would like to have some education about. Is it just general Oregon land use planning, or would it be, oh, there you go, you're so smart. So anyway, I guess I can ask the commissioners that right now. Was there specific education that any one of the commissioners was hoping to get or have arranged for the planning commission? Or were you looking for just an overall land use planning training for commissioners? Anybody? Since because you put that as one of your goals.
Just speaking personally, I just a broad overview is kind of what I was thinking about.
Okay. Okay. Well, that helps us to start arranging for a training, and probably what we'll do is look out and see if there is an evening that a planned commissioner meeting is being held, and maybe not a lot on there, or it just depends on how long a training would be. So the other option is to do a training at each, to break it down and have some kind of training at each commissioner's meeting. But I'm not sure how that would take place. So we'll work on that for you.
And
yes.
excuse me. I know you're sort of talking about council goals and work plan, and the training was part of that. And Megan, I don't know if you can put that council goals back up there.
Yeah, we'll go over that.
Because one of the things that I was curious about, and this is outside of the planning commission, but I might as well raise it now. One of the things I was curious about, what I don't see in the council goals is one of the things that I hear talked about perhaps the most in my neighborhood over the past months, as well as on the Coburg Facebook group, a couple of the Facebook groups, frankly, and that's public safety and some of the property crime that's been happening. And I was just curious because I didn't really see public safety concerns or dealing with what I think is at least an issue that's on a lot of the citizens' minds that I talk to. Considering
it is in there, and I have to, Megan, can you go down a little bit? So so the chief is very aware, and they are working on the crime, and I can't really talk a lot about it, but there's several communities that are all working together, because Coburg is not alone in this. This is not something that is just Coburg. We are seeing similar things and connected things happening in Harrisburg, Junction City, and all the way up to Salem and north of that. So there is, and our police department is working with the other agencies on these items. One of the things that has happened is that our police have expanded their hours. So there is more coverage in the late night hours now, and into the early morning. And so that is one thing that they have done. Also patrolling in areas where they know that there has been crimes taking place. So that is happening. One of the things that is on the goals, Megan, can you just go down a little bit more? Because one of the goals that was put in there, I'm trying to see it. It just basically talks about implementing a data and analysis reporting for the police and crime activity. So really working on some data that we can collect to more emphasis on where is it happening, what time of the day is it happening, and pulling all of that information together, not just to look at on a monthly basis, but a trending. So that is something that we want to see on a higher level happening for Coburg. So that is in there. That was a counselor request. So the chief will be working on that.
Thanks.
Can you go back up, Megan, to the front page? So we will send these out because it's a lot of boxes, but basically what we do is the council sets over lining goals, and then there's a work plan that goes with those goals. And so this year, the livability and utilities, operational capacity, fiscal stewardship, strategic planning, and economic development are all goals that have been the same for 4 years. Council is elected to keep those goals. This year they did add another goal, and that is the committee and commission communications. So really wanting to step up the communications between the committees and the council. And the commission and the council, part of that is the goal setting process for the committees. So one of the things we would be looking for is what is the planning commission's goals, and that at least annually there would be some kind of report that says this is what's happening with the planning commission goals. But the other piece is that planning commission minutes all the minutes for all the committees will now be included in the council packet. So the council will be reading all committee and commission minutes. And we've had some work sessions now, joint work sessions, and we hope that we continue to do that when it is a land use decision or something coming up that is good for both bodies to get ready for or get education on. Land use education is probably something we will also offer the council to participate in if they like. So I just wanted to mention that is a really important goal of the council. There was a lot of emphasis on it this year. So that has been added to their goals. As far as if you go down, Megan, a little bit, the boxes really are the living document and the work plan for the staff and under all of these goals. And so these are things that could be multi-year. They might be here for a while because it takes a while to get things done, but we really do try to focus on what has been shared by the community, what is rising to the top of concerns and priorities for the community, and the staff then puts that into a work plan. So just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of this document. We will send it out so you can look at it a little bit closer, but I am sharing it with all committees and commissions in the month of April. You're just getting it a little early, one day. So excuse me, does anybody have any questions about this document? Okay.
Anne?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Nancy, and I don't want to interrupt, but I did want to point out, because you really can't see it on the small document, right. But when you look under the column of livability, health, and vitality, perhaps we should add community safety in there, but that's where you will find, as commissioners, the information that Anne just said about, the data collection and the enforcement and implementation of the SCRAM security camera. Those directly reflect what you were talking about, Commissioner Thompson, the concerns of the community in terms of safety and crime.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions? I don't have any other big news at this time. The city stands, one big news is the city from the American Rescue Act, the city stands to receive about $240,000 over 2 years. And at this point, the council hasn't even considered what that would go to funding. They will have a discussion about that in their upcoming meeting. But I don't believe that a decision will be made immediately. We are just trying to identify what are the most important priorities that these funds could be applied to at this time. And I don't have anything else.
One thing on page 3 of your report, you say the city is working on updating the transportation plan. Is that a planning issue, and is any of the commissioners involved in that?
It's so right now where that's at. So there's going to be a update of the transportation to solve the issue that there is information in it that is incorrect at this time. So part of the issue with the transportation plan is it wasn't officially adopted by the state because it was tied with the urban growth boundary. And that was remanded back. And so part of the reason that it was remanded back had to do with the residential urban growth boundary road transportation issue. And the line drawn on that of the connector road that was it was in the city boundary, not up in the county boundary. The city was putting it in there as a placeholder for a future road, but that seemed to cause some issues. So the first transportation plan update that we're going to do is try to correct that low-hanging fruit that is holding up our ability to help with the transportation issues of the residential UGB. So that might mean a Goal 12 exception of a road. So we have talked with the county regarding that. And so that would probably be mentioned in that update. So it will be a update that only corrects those things that need to be corrected because of the remand. And then that will come to Planning Commission. And Jake Callister is working on that right now. And they should have that done in April, of just the recommendations that need to take, the changes that need to take place in order to fix the issue. It will come to Planning Commission to be adopted. And then what we've done is applied for a TGM grant to update not just the code, but to intertie the code and the transportation plan. So there's changes that committee is working on for the code, and some of you are on that committee. And when that committee finishes its work on bringing all of those things to light that they feel are important based on the community build out survey, then we would take those changes and align the transportation plan with them. So obviously transportation is going to have some impact on that. So we're hoping to align both those documents so there would be a second update to the transportation plan as well. So right now, I would say that you're going to see something about that in about May for the one that Jake's working on right now.
Okay, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Did anybody else have any questions about that? Okay. I either answered it or confused you. Okay, any other questions for me?
No,
All right. Well, thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you, Anne. And I actually believe that with that, we've reached the end of the meeting. Are there any other comments or things to be considered from the commissioners or staff? So hearing none, I am going to adjourn tonight's planning commission meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.